Hearts, candy and flowers were common sights around Texas Tech yesterday as the campus community celebrated Valentine's Day. Coming up, we'll show you how several departments and groups gave Red Raiders the chance to show their love or their dislike for the holiday.
Across the world, most people celebrated the beginning of a new year over a month ago. But for some countries, 2024 has just begun. Find out how one campus organization marked the change in the calendar by educating students on a few Chinese traditions.
And only a day after dropping from the national polls, the Texas Tech men's basketball team gave voters a reason to reconsider their decision, following a huge showdown in the USA. MCTV's Trinity Boudreaux has a look back at Tuesday's headline-making victory, along with a look around the rest of Tech athletics in sports.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Elene Khajishvili.
And I'm Garrison. The most love-filled day of the year has come and gone, with people all over the United States taking time to show that special someone how much they care.
Here at Texas Tech, students had several options to express their feelings as departments and groups around campus offered Valentine's Day themed events. Here in the Media and Communication building, members of college's Dean Student Ambassadors handed out candy on the first floor to students headed to class. The college also set up a photo backdrop in the first floor esports lounge. Students could put on their own personal photo shoot to celebrate the holiday. Meanwhile, on the northeast corner of campus, the Museum of Texas Tech also got in on the Valentine's Day action by offering guests the opportunity to create a personalized card. Paper and writing supplies were available for free, and those stopping by could even use a typewriter to compose a message to friends and loved ones. Along with the creative activity, museum guests could enjoy free V-Day themed refreshments. Yesterday's card-making event wrapped up at 3 p.m.
Although most of Wednesday's campus events focused on the Day of Love, one university group kicked off their Valentine's Day festivities by giving students a chance to find out how they can give back to the local community. The Student Activities Board hosted the Spring Volunteer Fair on Wednesday in the sub-ballroom. Students could stop by and visit with representatives from nonprofit groups from the local area to learn about service opportunities. Attendees also had a chance to make an immediate impact by participating in a special Stuff a Critter event with all of the stuffed animals donated to local charities. SAB Vice President Jaslyn Salazar says the volunteer fair not only benefits local nonprofits, but it helps students learn more about the needs of the Lubbock community.
I just hope that students will gain resources to get out into the community, be able to get involved within different Lubbock areas. I feel like there's a lot of different areas to volunteer with that a lot of people don't know about, so we have a lot of those coming out.
Along with yesterday's volunteer fair, SAB also hosted a Berry Bad Valentine event just outside the ballroom in the sub-courtyard. SAB's celebration of the holiday included a chance for students to take strawberries or other snacks and dip them in a chocolate fountain. Attendees could also take pictures at an anti-Valentine's photo booth for those looking for an alternative way to celebrate V-Day. SAB's calendar of fun and free activities continues tonight with a free movie at the Stars and Stripes Drive-In Theater. Gates will open at 7:30 p.m. and the first 480 students with a Tech ID will get in to watch one of February's newest releases, Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson. For a full list of student activities boards coming events, visit sab.ttu.edu.
Last Saturday, people around the world celebrated the Lunar New Year, which marked the beginning of 2024 for several Asian countries. Here on campus, the Lunar New Year was also celebrated by one campus group a few days late. On Tuesday, the Tech Chinese Language and Culture Association hosted a Chinese New Year and mooncake event in the CMLL building. Members of the organization gathered together at 5 p.m. in room 116 to learn about the Lunar New Year while enjoying some traditional Chinese games and treats. Attendees could try some Chinese candy and cookies along with a special baked good that is served during an annual holiday in China.
The mooncakes is based around the tradition because we always have mooncakes because they're always sold around holidays, and it's a significant symbol around a certain holiday, the Mid-Autumn Festival, where the moon goddess left and then the guy is chasing her, so it's kind of a romantic holiday where family gathering and just have fun.
TCLCA's New Year celebration took place on Tuesday during the group's regular meeting time. The organization has several more events planned for Tuesdays during the spring semester, alternating between Chinese film showings and game nights. All events are free and open to any student. For more information on all the activities taking place this semester, visit facebook.com/ttu.chinese.language.
This past weekend's winter storm is just a memory now, with conditions returning to normal over the last few days.
But will the more mild winter weather continue through the weekend? Weather specialist Elisabeth Herring has the details in today's MCTV forecast. Elizabeth?
Taking a look at our MCTV tower cam, all that snow we saw last Thursday has melted away now. You can see on the ground, on the sidewalks, in the shady areas that did melt away. However, we are headed for some continuing warm temperatures. Today, a very mild day in the South Plains. Snyder 71, Spur 70, Plainview 64, Morton 71. Definitely a warm day for the South Plains. More warm than what we're used to seeing. Usually we're about 10 degrees below this, around 60 degrees with lows in the 30s. And we won't quite reach our record of 87. However, we do have some high temperatures coming up next week. That winter storm did put us ahead in some places for the drought down south in the South Plains, now out of the drought. However, some of those areas in the northwest parts still a little bit dry. Tonight here in the South Plains, definitely a cool one, but no freezing temperatures. Snyder 48, Silverton 40, Plainview 38, definitely a chilly night for the South Plains. Tomorrow, highs a little bit cooler than what we saw today, the 40s and 50s. Snyder 58, Plainview 47, Morton 55, up in Turkey 49, Matador 49. Definitely a little bit chillier, so if you're headed out the door, grab a light jacket on your way outside. Tonight, low of 43 here in Lubbock. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler than what we saw today, high of 54, and we do have a northeast wind at 16 miles per hour, so it is going to be a little bit of a breezy day, so just keep that in mind as that could make the temperatures feel a little bit cooler. As we move on to the weekend, we are going to start to cool down. Friday night, we have a cool front with a high of 43 on Saturday, low of 26, well below freezing. However, there is no rain forecasted. Sunday, high of 59, still a little bit cool, but it looks like we're only going to warm up as we move into Monday. Monday, high of 71 and sunny skies. Tuesday, even warmer with a high of 78. On Wednesday, we could potentially see 80 degrees, and this will be the first time we see 80 degrees this year. Thursday, still keeping it a little bit warm, but cooler than what we'll see Wednesday. Thursday, about 69 degrees, around 70s. And then at night, 40s all around, no freezing temperatures at this time. I'm Elizabeth, and it's back to y'all.
Thanks, Elizabeth. The Texas Tech men's basketball team made headlines once again earlier this week after knocking off one of the best teams in the nation. And to top it off, the win came only hours after falling out of the national polls.
But the men's team weren't the only Red Raiders showing up in fans' news feeds. MCTV's Trinity Boudreaux has a rundown of Texas Tech athletics' most recent stories in sports. Trinity?
Thank you, Elene and Austin. Texas Tech men's basketball hosted number 6 Kansas Monday night and put up an excellent show with a huge win over the Jayhawks, 79-50. Earlier this week, the Red Raiders fell down in the AP poll and were no longer ranked due to their recent rough patch in the season. Going into the matchup, Texas Tech was 17-6 overall and 6-4 in conference play, and Kansas was 19-5 overall and 7-4 in conference play. Texas Tech kept the lead for majority of the first half, going into halftime at 37-28 with the help of 8 three-pointers. Heading into the second half, Tech increased the lead to 51-33, then received their first 20-point lead before finishing with a final score of 79-50. Darian Williams made every shot he attempted and led the team in points with 30, and also led in three-pointers with 4, while Robert Jennings led in free throws with 6. With this win over Kansas, this is the Red Raiders' largest point margin win over a top 10 team. Next up, the Red Raiders, now 18-6 and 7-4, will be on the road in Ames, Iowa to go up against number 10 ranked Iowa State, who are 19-5 and 8-3 Saturday morning at 11. Also in basketball news, the Lady Raiders hosted Oklahoma State in the United Supermarkets Arena yesterday. Going into the game, the Lady Raiders were 16-9 overall and 5-7 in the Big 12, and the Cowgirls were 11-12 overall and 4-8 in the Big 12. The last time these teams met up was back in January, and that ended in a loss for the Lady Raiders. Sadly, Texas Tech lost this game as well with a score of 60-50. Jasmine Shavers led the team with 16 points, Riley McKinney led with 2 3-pointers, and Bailey Maupin led with 6 free throws. Up next, the Lady Raiders will go on the road to Waco to meet up with the number 21 Baylor Bears Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. The Lady Raiders are now 16-10 and 5-8, while the Bears are 18-6 and 7-6. Also this week in Texas Tech golf, the women's team traveled to the Bahamas to compete in the Nexus Collegiate Tournament. The Red Raiders tied for 6th place with Clara Hurtova and Maha Ambrosiak leading with top 20 finishes on the individual scoreboard. Texas Tech softball started the season off strong in the Joanne Graff Classic in Tallahassee, Florida. The Red Raiders started off with a doubleheader win against Florida A&M last Friday. Game 1 ended with a score of 11-1 and Game 2 finished with a 9-2 victory. On Saturday, the Red Raiders fell to Charlotte University 0-2 and also fell to number 4 Florida State 8-9. Lastly, the Red Raiders took the win over Charlotte Sunday 2-1 to finish the tournament. Next up, Texas Tech softball will be back on the road in San Marcos in a matchup against the Sam Houston Bearcats Friday night with the first pitch at 6:30. Finally, the Texas Tech baseball team will be starting their season off in Arlington, Texas at the Shriners Children's College Showdown at Globe Life Field. The Red Raiders will face the number 9 Tennessee Vols Friday night with the first pitch set at 7, followed by Nebraska Saturday at 3, and lastly Oregon on Sunday at 2:30. That's all for Texas Tech sports. Now back to you, Austin and Lane.
Thanks, Trinity. So, Lane, did you do anything to celebrate for Valentine's Day?
Yes, I went out with my Valentine. What about you?
I went out as myself, and it was pretty fun. Went to a party. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you next week.